Sponsored by Noble McIntyre Law.
And welcome to another edition of The End Zone. I am Colby Daniels. Special guest this week is Adam Francisco, friend of the show from the Suave Report. Make sure to check out his work. Adam, it is a busy time in the sports world. Generally, we're kind of throttling down, right? The Thunder season is over. We're not used to OU winning College World Series championships, and the World Cup adds a whole different element. But my gosh, if you're a sports fan, this is an awesome time of year right now.
Honestly, the best time of the year. Everyone keeps asking me, like, how is it now that the season's over? I'm like, same thing. I mean,
the season didn't end, right?
I'm still doing stuff. It's just not going into the Paycom arena every day,
That's right. That's right. Instead of like going to a parade like we did last year, it's covering the moves that are going to take place and are taking place with this Thunder team. It was draft week, which everybody was excited about. We'll talk about the picks in a moment, but you were there. What was the draft experience like?
The draft, so this is my second draft. The first one was a little bit more energetic. I noticed these guys aren't like, the whole rags to riches story is not a thing anymore. Most of these guys that were, especially in the first round, were making tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in college. So they weren't broke. And there wasn't the passion that came with it. I didn't see any tears. I didn't see any moms crying or anything like that. And the atmosphere in the arena wasn't the same either, because Shams he's kind of ruined it when it comes to the suspense side of things.
I unfollow him, by the way, on Twitter for that night, and then I follow him.
Smart. I have his notifications on, so like I was getting these notifications 4-ish minutes before. So that kind of took away from it, but overall, it was a great time. It was a great time.
I've been to an NFL draft. I've never been to an NBA draft, but an NFL draft, you have so much time between picks. I think in comparison, the NBA draft just flies by, and it's one pick after another.
Oh yeah, I was trying to video each player, make my post and everything, but by the time I was done making the actual post on Twitter, they were drafting
the next guy's on his way.
That's right. To a point where I'm like, okay, I'm done. Enough of the cute stuff. Let's just wait till pick number 12.
Well, the Thunder had 2 first-round picks. They had a second-round pick. They took Aday Mara from Michigan at number 12 overall. They traded up 1 spot to number 16 to take Bennett Sturts, the guard out of Iowa. And in the second round, they traded down from 37 to 41, ultimately taking a guy that we're familiar with in the state of Oklahoma, Otega Oweh, former Oklahoma Sooner turned Kentucky Wildcat. We had the opportunity to meet all the new draft picks this week, and I think my biggest observation, Aday Mara is going to be a fan favorite. Just, I think, very contagious smile. Just a guy that I think genuinely loves the game. And he's nicknamed the Big Goof. So he was asked where that nickname comes from and to describe his love of the game.
Well, Dusty said it in a press conference. It comes from Reno 911. I had to watch it. Literally, I watched a couple chapters of the series, but yeah, it comes from there. Obviously, when I was just practicing, I made a play and I was just like joking around, so that's where it comes from. And I think obviously the years before you watch this team as a fan, and just by watching it on TV, you can see the good chemistry that they all have, the good relationship. So I'm super grateful that I'm coming to this environment, to this team, because after being in Michigan and knowing what you have to do to win the championship, like one of the biggest things is to have a really good relationship with the players. So I'm very grateful to be here.
There you go. Championship pedigree, obviously, with the Michigan Wolverines. What was your reaction to the pick?
I, at first, honestly, was a little skeptical because I didn't know a lot about him. I did a little research on him. I knew that he was obviously 7'4", 7'3", 7'4" with shoes on. But I wasn't as sold until I really dove into his highlights and looking at his story and everything, and I really think he'll be beneficial for the Thunder strictly because his best skill, I kind of talked about it, is not his height. It's his decision making and his toughness inside the paint. A lot of people have talked a lot about how slow he is. Well, his speed's not going to be needed. He's needed in the paint. he is going to be OKC's anchor, especially after what we saw in the Western Conference Finals against Wemby. He's going to be the guy where when Wemby actually comes into the paint, he's there. On the perimeter, that's good. It was inside the paint that Wemby was really carving the Thunder up. He fixes that. I love it.
I know he's been called the Wemby stopper, but I would just again say to fans, like, pump the brakes
He's
a little
a
bit
rookie.
and be patient with him. I don't think he's gonna hit the ground running and shut Wemby out every time they play the San Antonio Spurs. A lot of people weren't familiar with Bennett Sturts, the second round pick. I think he won a lot of people over, just people watching his highlights, what he's capable of as a scorer. Seems like just a Thunder guy in terms of his personality. He spoke about the excitement of being in OKC and the fit.
Like, it's super important for all three of us to be around winning, and we have to maintain that, and we have to come in ready to learn. We're going to make mistakes, but we got to be ready to make mistakes and learn from all the other guys that have made and won the finals, and we just got to be ready to learn and put our learning hats on.
So he's a guy that has played 4 years of college basketball. Is he, do you think, impactful in your number one?
Yeah. He's not going to come in and average 13, 14 points a game or anything.
Yeah.
But a young guy come in, play make, create his own shot, create shots for other players, and knock down the three at a pretty high clip. We saw that in college. Just seeing his story. Obviously, I'm a West Texas A&M guy. I talked to him a little bit about what he did to my Buffs in 2022, his freshman year. Broke my heart watching it. But seeing his story just shows me that he is going to be someone special in the league. Every step of the way he's ascended. Why would he stop now? Or why would that stop now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's a fun player to watch. Again, you see those highlights. He can shoot off the dribble, catch and shoot. Is just I called him a certified bucket getter earlier in the week. That is what he is, and I'll be curious to see ultimately how he fits into this Thunder offense. The other guy, the second round pick, Otega Oweh, former Oklahoma Sooner, obviously had that incredible moment in the NCAA tournament. He's a guy that I think is really interesting in terms of the fit. He knows the state of Oklahoma clearly and talked about what he learned in his first go round here in the state.
Yeah, I'm already super familiar with OKC, obviously Norman, not too far from here, so it's really just a full circle moment. I know, the atmosphere, is all basketball really, because this is what, OKC, they live and die, basketball, so I'm kind of used to it already, and, I'm excited to be in that environment. I got some good practice my first 2 years, and then went to another school where, they also live and die basketball and breathe it, so, it's definitely something that, I'm excited and used to.
I'll be honest, when we went into day 2 of the NBA draft, I didn't know necessarily that there was a player that I felt confident in being able to contribute in year number 1. That I feel like there is a big opportunity for him to contribute in year number 1.
Otega Oweh, I'm going to say this now, I haven't said it yet. He is the most defensive ready player in this draft class, in my opinion, at least for the Thunder. He's just incredibly versatile. To me, he does everything that Cason Wallace and Lou Dort do, but he's 6'5".
Yeah.
And he's bigger than both of them. Everybody knows about his brother who's playing in the NFL, I forgot what team. But
I think he's with the Commanders now.
Commanders, yeah. He has that same mentality. He has the same mentality as him, and he will work perfectly in this Thunder team that's predicated on defense. Obviously defense. Yeah.
The only downside of adding these 3 players, which I'm a big fan of all 3 guys, is that you had to say goodbye to a couple of Thunder players, a couple of the guys that were members of a championship squad and will have days of recognition in this state forever. But Aaron Wiggins was the first to go on his way to Atlanta for 2 second-round picks. Isaiah Joe is traded to Detroit for 2 second-round picks. This wasn't a value thing. I know people have complained about what Presti got back. They didn't want to get anything back because they're trying to shed money. That's ultimately the goal here, unfortunately for both of those guys, because I think if the Thunder had it their way, both guys would be back.
Yeah, Sam talked about this is not, if anyone does leave, it's not going to be a situation where they could have done more or they didn't.
Right.
like hold up their end of the bargain. It's strictly money. It's strictly business. And obviously, Aaron Wiggins is a crowd favorite. The man who saved basketball. He had plenty of highlight moments for OKC, plenty of comeback starting plays. He's a guy that's always going to be in the hearts of Thunder fans. And then Isaiah Joe, really close friend of mine. Hard to see him go, but I'm honestly happy to see him get an opportunity. A
Where he
shot,
did, too,
you know,
yeah.
where he, I mean, he's going from the number 1 seed in the West
Yeah.
to the number 1 seed in the East. A team that needs sharpshooting. That's what they missed in the playoffs. That's why they were a second round exit, I
Yeah,
believe.
that's right.
They did not have a shooter. So now they have a shooter. He can be featured like he deserves and still go to a good team, good franchise. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to see them both
For sure.
going to good franchises.
We'll turn on the highlight reel tonight, play some Boys to Men, and say goodbye to Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins. All right, we got to take a timeout. Moving the Chains next with Adam Francisco. All right, welcome back to the show. Along with Stone Weber, I'm Colby Daniels. Our guest this week is Adam Francisco with the Suave Report. Check out his work, thesuavereport.com. All right, moving the chains, 1st and 10. I'll ask you a question. Stone's going to grade your answers. We'll see if you can pick up the first down. 1st and 10, the 2026 NBA draft class will live up to the hype.
They will. Wait, what's the answer I have to give?
Well, you give whatever answer you want,
Oh.
and then Stone decides whether or not he likes or hates your answer.
I think the top half of the first round will. I think the back half of the first round, I think they'll be mediocre at best. I personally wasn't impressed with the second half of the first round. Anything after pick 16, I'd say. It's kind of, let me save myself here.
I like how he did that.
I would say it's a little iffy. So first half, bona fide stars, superstars 1 to 2, stars 3 to 6, and then productive role players from 7 to about 16.
Sure, and I think, like you said, the productive role player from 7 to 16, that's kind of the spot where you would see that dropping off a little bit from the superstar. I would agree. I'd say it's a 4-yard gain.
Okay,
Okay.
solid
Solid
pickup
run.
on first
Yeah.
down.
Solid run,
2nd and
yeah.
6, add 3 current Thunder players to a World Cup team to give them the best chance to succeed. Who do you think would transition well to the World Cup?
This is easy. Shea,
Okay.
considering he used to play soccer, and he's very good at it. Lou Dort, considering he plays soccer during the offseason, both Canadians. And then,
To get an indictment on American soccer right now.
Yeah. They lost to Turkey yesterday, so, you know. Anyway, third person, let's say Adaimara. He's Spanish.
There you go.
He's Spanish.
There you go.
Put him in there on the corner kick. I mean, it's
Yep.
hard to stop that header. I mean,
Yep.
and Canada could probably use Shea and Dort right now, getting ready for the round of 32.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a 3-yard gain.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
Another
very good. Very good.
productive run.
You're getting close. Third and
Another-
short.
Okay, yeah.
Third and short. Third and manageable. I think you got this. All right, you're a fan of Love Island.
I love it. Every day.
It's my guilty pleasure.
Me
I
and
love
Kiara
Love
watch it
Island.
every day.
Pick 2 Thunder players, past or present, that would make the best Love Island bombshells.
Ooh. Past or present?
Past or present.
Oh, that's hard. That's actually a hard.
I mean, you
best-
could do both present.
Best bombshell. I'm going to do one pass because
Okay.
he's the heartthrob of everyone, including my mother-in-law, my
Okay.
mom, my wife. Serge Ibaka, for sure.
No
I mean,
brainer. Yeah.
Serge Ibaka he's still in the show, honestly. And then let's say no one on this. Oh, Steven Adams. I was going to say Thabo Sefolosha, but
Steven
let's say
Adams would be
Steven Adams.
terrific.
Yeah, Steven Adams and Serge Ibaka.
Okay.
Yeah, dark horse Thabo Sefolosha.
Was
Ooh,
that
that's
Velocia?
interesting.
That's a good one.
That's a throwback.
From
I
Switzerland.
would say, yeah, I think, everyone you mentioned, pretty unique features, pretty striking, right? It's kind of the point of the bombshell walk in. I would agree. I'd say that's a first down.
Let's go.
And
Let's
Steven
go.
Adams not afraid to
Let's
step
go.
on anybody's toes, so
At all.
he's gonna absolutely do what he wants to do inside that villa. All right, last one just for fun. Add a Thunder-related caption to this Sophie Cunningham gift that has gone viral all over social media. It's hilarious, the different captions on Twitter right now. But add a Thunder caption for this.
Oh man, okay. That is hilarious. Sophie's hilarious. Let's say whenever people question what Sam Presti does, and it inevitably works out. Just point
Looking
out.
at you,
Just
Presti
point out.
doubters,
Come on.
looking at you.
Look at you, always.
That's right.
You know more than Presti? I don't think so.
That's right. What do we think, Sony? Get an additional first down?
Another first down. That's 12-yard gain
there we
right
go.
there.
There we go.
Moving in
Sir.
chunks now.
I'm Emmitt Smith today.
That was
Let's do it.
solid. That was solid. All right, we gotta take a timeout. We're talking College World Series as Oklahoma became the national championship champions, and maybe we'll hit some World Cup. Adam, thanks for joining us this week.
Of course, I love it.
All right, we'll be back in a moment on the End Zone. Along with Stone Weber, I am Colby Daniels. Excited about this Oklahoma baseball team that had one of the most magical runs I've ever seen in sports, not just baseball. And they had the big celebration, obviously, in Norman earlier in the week. You were out there. The crowd was amazing. How cool was just the atmosphere to be a part of? Because I think this team really captured the hearts of Sooner Nation.
Sure, and I think part of the thing you see, right, you know about OU football and OU baseball and OU basketball, OU softball, but yeah, the baseball's kind of still working on the way up, and you had some of the players talk about it, the coaches said it's the most people they had ever seen at the ballpark, so, you know, I think the program's kind of viewing this as a turning point, but yeah, like you said, an unreal moment. They played 11 nationally ranked teams in the postseason, more wins against ranked teams than anyone in the postseason ever, so yeah, certainly a dominant run.
They were 11-2 overall in postseason play. They outscored opponents in the postseason 118-53 and outscored opponents in the College World Series 48-18 with 3 freshman pitchers starting all 6 games. Just an incredible run, and the players, as well as Skip Johnson, spoke about the magical run and reminiscing about all those special moments.
It's everything. It's an honor to wear the Crimson and Cream for the last year. I've wanted to do it my whole life, and to be able to do it and bring a national championship back to Norman, it's a dream of a lifetime.
I was kind of overwhelmed. I didn't know they were that excited, but that was a really cool feeling, and that just means the world to me that they have my back.
I was hugging the players when they were walking up, and I hadn't seen them, and so I got kind of teary-eyed like I am right now, and I saw them. I was like, man, we just won the national championship, These dudes are walking up, and it was so cool, so real.
It was awesome. I was sitting there clapping, and then it dropped, and it was like 2026. It's awesome, It was such a great run, even better people to do it with, So it was awesome. Just so happy.
This team is so unbelievably likable, and just when I think I can't possibly like Skip Johnson anymore, he speaks, and I like him more every single time. The guy is as good as it gets.
Very relatable, and like you said, a very likable team. They're all, they're not afraid to, they're not too serious, right? They know they're part of a game, and they talked about it. They've been the underdogs, the entire season, right? Not picked on first-team SEC, second-team SEC, All-American honors, anything like that, but came together, got hot at the right time, and now the last one standing.
Yeah, I think Troy was the only team that had lower odds of the 8 teams that went to Omaha to win the national championship, and the Sooners ultimately got it done. Speaking of championships, the USA soccer team is positioned to potentially go on a run for the World Cup. They've got Bosnia-Herzegovina next Wednesday, July 1st, 7 p.m. Great matchup for the U.S. to continue their crazy run, despite that third loss.
Certainly a favorable matchup, right? And out staying out on the West Coast, a ton of soccer fans out there. The Turkey loss is probably not something you're going to hang your hat on too much. A lot of that game, 10 different changes, from the Australia and Paraguay games beforehand. So not something to be too upset about. But yeah, certainly a favorable match with round 32 and should be a win.
There you go. It's the closing argument next here on the End Zone. And welcome back to the End Zone along with Noble McIntyre. I am Colby Daniels. It is time for the closing argument. Noble, this Oklahoma baseball team went on one of the most amazing runs I've ever seen, not only in Oklahoma sports history, but in sports history in general. It was absolutely magical what they did in the postseason. How does this championship run for you compare to the other great OU sports teams in men's, women's, whatever, across the board?
I think you're right. The run was to finish 14-16 in conference play, ranked 11th, lose to a bad LSU team, and then just go on the tear that they went on is phenomenal. Here's why I think it compares at the top. OU synonymous with winning. We've had multiple national championships across the board, but this is a true Cinderella national champion. The Sooner football, the only other one comparable is the 2000 championship, where we weren't ranked coming into the season. Now, we were towards the end, but we didn't have any expectations early on. I think this is the only true true Cinderella championship in OU's history, other than that 2000 year. And because of that, you have to put it at the top.
Yeah, not only did both of those championships kind of come out of nowhere, but they both end up with the final score 13-2,
which is crazy.
Is just absolutely wild. And you look at OU going into the postseason, nobody thought they were even going to get out of the first regional. They end up going, I think, 11-2 overall in the or 11-3 overall in the postseason, and they outscored opponents in Omaha 48-18 with 3 starting freshman pitchers.
30% of the home runs they hit all season happened in the postseason. It's just phenomenal the tear they went on. I think they played a lot like I feel you and I would play if we were playing college baseball right now.
Absolutely. At least when it matters, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's
Tell
very
me, Keith,
representative.
I'm not as good as I once was,
That's right.
but I'm as good once as I ever was.
You put me in the clutch situation, we're going to deliver. All right, that is it for this edition of The Closing Argument with Noble McIntyre. I am Colby Daniels. We'll see you next week.